In his classic book, Behave, esteemed neurobiologist Robert Sapolsky states, what occurs in the prior seconds to minutes that triggers the nervous system to produce a behavior is the world of sensory stimuli, and much of it is sensed unconsciously. And as it applies to the context of a sugary snack, it is true that sight, smell, and taste can change our perception of flavor. But modern research indicates that the stimuli perceived in the minutes before consumption only partially explain the behavior of craving more. In fact, today we'll see that although the regions of the brain that are associated with these normal sensory inputs receive a lot of the attention, it very well may be the gut that truly drives the desire or craving for more. Let's see how. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we're gonna run through yet another reason why your gut knows what's up. Production team, write that one down. I'm gonna use it as one of my taglines. But instead of focusing on the microbe-abundant large intestines, aka the colon, which typically steals the spotlight, we're gonna talk about the much less glorified small intestines and how specific cells scattered across this intestinal lining may be the sugar monster making the brain catch feels for all those processed treats at the store. So in the next 14 minutes and 76 seconds, we're gonna break down how your gut modulates your sugar cravings, why artificial sweeteners probably aren't a viable replacement, and some ways to alter your strategy to keep your sweet tooth in check, keeping all parties happy in the process. Or organs, keeping all organs happy in the process. And production team, make sure you're paying attention, all right? I think this video may wield the secrets to breaking your Sour Patch Kid addiction. Without further ado, off to the chocolate factory we go. The hidden sugar receptors in our gut. Let's start with a little history. Soon after sweet taste receptors were identified, scientists sought to see if they were solely responsible for our sweet tooth. To do this, they created sweet blind mice, not to be confused with Three Blind Mice, great band, by knocking out or silencing their taste receptors. What do you think they found? Somehow, some way, the mice were capable of preferring sugar with no taste receptors. But how is this possible? Well, it was discovered that a specific type of cell called a duodenal neuropod, located in the beginning of the small intestines, was able to sense the macronutrient sugar. And it leveraged the neurotransmitter glutamate to convert this signal of glucose from the gut to the brain. And I know what you're thinking. So what? The gut can taste. Wake me up when it can crave. Okay, chill out. At the time this original study was done, researchers lacked the tools to link this specific gut sensory cell to the establishment of the behavior of craving more. Bummer, I know. Until, that is, this landmark research out of Duke University and published in Nature's Neuroscience joined the party. In it, researchers leveraged new technology that allowed them to determine how behavior is modulated by visceral organs that are in constant motion, such as the intestines. Using this technology, researchers were able to silence these sugar-sensing cells in the gut to see if the organism's preference, desire, or craving for sugar changed. Using a mouse model, they observed that at baseline, sucrose or table sugar preference was high, with mice choosing it over other options around 82% of the time. However, when they inhibited the glutamate receptor signaling from those neuropod cells in the gut, aka they silenced them, sucrose preference significantly dropped and was nearly cut in half to 44%. This had them concluding that sugar, specifically glucose and sucrose, triggered a taste-independent activation of these receptors on these neuropod cells, which then sent a signal over the vagus nerve to the brain that a gratifying condition had been met, all via the neurotransmitter glutamate, finding that this signal activated different pathways in the brain that taste receptors don't reach. specifically the hindbrain and striatum pathways, creating the case that the gut has the power to influence the emotions and logic behind food choice by driving a strong conditioned preference, aka craving, for a certain macronutrient, in this case, sugar. Also indicating that the true gratifying experience of satisfying your sugar craving comes from the gut and not the mouth. So let me get this straight. Not only do we have tens of trillions of microorganisms in our gut influence our craving via neurotransmission and secretion of metabolites, but our cells in our small intestines are joining the party too? Do we make any decisions anymore? Just asking. No, probably not. Okay. Thoughts and prayers to all the taste bud and olfactory neurons across the world. All right, so the gut's got some pull. But what if you fill this void with a modern day artificial sweetener? Can that satisfy your sweet tooth in the same way? How funny, you should ask. Because that's what researchers gave the mice in the study an option to drink. Specifically, sucralose or Splenda sweetened water. Now, to be clear, there are a handful of different options when it comes to artificial sweeteners. So these results obviously don't speak for all of them, but they are nonetheless interesting. When given the option between sugar sweetened water and artificially sweetened water, as pointed out before, the mice chose sugar around 82% of the time. But when researchers inhibited the glutamate receptor signaling from those neuropod cells, they saw a significant drop in sucrose preference to about 44%, and a significant increase in the artificially sweetened option, which saw a nice spike in consumption without a significant change in total intake. Researchers discovered that the artificial sweetener actually activated different receptors in the gut and leveraged an ATP pathway to signal the brain, a pathway which is less preferred compared to the glucose and sucrose glutamate pathway. All this helped researchers draw the conclusion that glutaminergic signaling from intestinal neuropod cells enables mice to distinguish sugar from sweeteners, and reinforces my long-standing hypothesis that our body is wicked smart. Now, this gives us some insights around why one may keep reverting to or desiring real sugar over the sweetener alternative, and why cravings may still persist when swapping sweeteners for sugar one for one. So, how can you put yourself in a position to itch that craving while keeping it as healthy as possible? Conquer cravings. Let's talk evolution, everyone's favorite topic. When you take a step back, it only makes sense that we humans prefer and crave our preferred source of energy. I mean, we're biologically wired as survival machines. Thus, we reward which helps us with that goal. Never before has our species lived in such a time of energy abundance. And I didn't say food on purpose, because a lot of the energy out there is crapola. Write that one down too, production team. And listen, everyone's ideal eating protocol is different, but the common theme for the ones that truly work, the ones that improve the cellular and metabolic efficiency of the organism and thus their longevity, are the ones focused around eating real whole foods. The consumption of foods that would be recognizable 1,000 years ago. Real stuff in its most natural form. And yes, that includes the consumption of sugar, which, when consumed naturally, would sufficiently stimulate this preferred sugar-seeking pathway we just learned about, without short-circuiting your biological wiring and derailing your health. So aim to get your sugar fix from natural sources, such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, tubers, and dairy. Foods that not only have natural glucose, fructose, sucrose, and lactose, but also the encapsulation of these nutrients in fiber, slowing the release into your system, sustaining the pleasure, and bolstering the satiety signal, which we talk about here. Now, I know this is easier said than done. I've been around the block, and if you're finding success with artificial sweeteners, that's awesome. Just know that they are acting upon different pathways. And just like the overconsumption of sugar, there are potential risks with the overconsumption of artificial sweeteners, and they tend to vary by sweetener. And as of the current literature, stevia and monk fruit seem to be the safest bets. So, if you find yourself in the oh-so-common modern-day scenario where you are consuming a high abundance of refined carbohydrates or sweets via processed foods, which conveniently make up 85% of the modern grocery store, here's a little experiment that you can try. Identify one of your top go-to snacks that you're snacking on a lot, but you know you probably shouldn't be snacking on a lot, and identify a healthy swap, or an alternative for this processed treat that itches that craving in a natural way. For example, say you had a, slight Butterfinger addiction and would get 1 or 3 on the walk home from work every day. Don't ask me how I know. Explore a swap that can deliver the same satisfaction in a healthy way. Maybe an ice cream smoothie bowl using frozen banana and blueberries, cacao and cinnamon, peanut butter, avocado, and a little bit of water or plant-based milk to create a chocolatey mousse-like treat. And maybe with that, the Butterfingers craving will make its way to the rearview mirror faster than you ever could have expected. Start slow and sustainably, one by one. Swap out those processed treats. And you'll not only notice that your cravings change, but you'll probably magically begin to feel better by a whole array of different objective and subjective metrics. And if you keep this food transformation up, you can literally be a different cellular and metabolic person in a year from now. This was just one of my examples. The options are truly limitless. I'm no chef, but there are plenty of good, healthy chefs on the interwebs. So use the Google machine. One little micro change at a time drives macro results. And in the case of eating, it drives macro health and longevity. So begin to build your good, sustainable habits around real whole foods and watch your taste preference adjust. And as you now know, not only in your mouth, but in your gut and brain too, creating a positive feedback loop to keep the healthy stuff flowing. As you know, feeling good, refreshed, restored, rejuvenated, energized each and every damn day doesn't just happen. You need to make it happen. You hear that, production team? You. They didn't even notice that I swapped out their Sour Patch Kids with dates. Huh? No, oh, no, nothing. Just saying goodbye.